You may have noticed that in some decades, very little seems to happen. And then again, in some weeks, decades seems to happen. And that is a time like this. Hello, I'm Simon Wilsher, the founder of CME Color Profiling Systems. We're doing a series of videos on the areas of opportunity that we see to create an even better future. And those areas will include the seasonal dimension, suitable systems, being socially connected, creating great space, structures, and spiritual well-being. And we're going to start with the seasonal dimension because it does provide really good context for the other areas, and it is about well-being. It's about hope. Isn't it interesting how the news at the moment is so much concentrated on what the government could be or should be doing to move us forward? We believe it's a personal responsibility and opportunity to see what we can do to create an even better future. Because let's face it, times are difficult. And it could be that we're only too well aware that the amount of disruption, that the depth of uncertainty and the degree of unpredictability is taking its toll. The amount of stress and anxiety is extraordinary. Only recently on the news, I was hearing how Professor Sir Ian Diamond, the head of government statistics, was saying that the proportion of the UK population that's experiencing anxiety is at 80%. 80%. That's huge. And so it's not surprising, therefore, that when we talk to a number of CEOs that we know well about how they are coping and how their people are faring in this crisis, many of them said that their number one priority is the well-being of their people. However, what's less clear is what they can do to help or support their people in terms of well-being. And at the end of the day, it really is down to us. So what can we do? Well, here are 3 ways in which you can move forward in a positive way. First of all, we can get things in perspective. Secondly, we can reflect on opportunities. And thirdly, we can actually understand how we personally and those we care about respond to both the tough side of the situation and the opportunities. So three opportunities. Firstly, get the facts and work out what we can influence. So I think we all know we've been situations where that should be complex, sometimes extremely worrying, which when we get the facts somehow puts things in proportion. And what we're recommending here is in this situation, make a list of all the facts, all the aspects, favourable and unfavourable, that are influencing you and those you care about. And then put them through what we call the circles of concern and influence and control. And then that provides good context. Because what happens is this: you make the list, and then we say, okay, so circle 1 is matters we can control. Circle 2 is matters we can't totally control, but we can influence. Circle 3 is we can't influence it at all, but it's causing us great concern. Once we've got all the items we've listed, whether they be fears, doubts, hopes, dreams, aspirations, etc., and put them in the appropriate circle and focus on circles 1 and 2, what we find happens is 2 things. 1, we do focus on things we can do something about. It does give us hope. And secondly, it stops us or reduces the amount of time we spend dwelling on circle 3, which we can't do anything about at all. And psychologists tell us that those who worry excessively, and some of those people who are experiencing depression, spend a lot of their time dwelling on circle 3, which they can do nothing about whatsoever. Solution number 2, reflecting on areas of opportunity. What this is saying, what's my opportunity now to think about what's important in life? It may be that it's more time with your family or your friends. It might be deepening relationships. It might be getting closer to your community. It could be health. It could be mental, physical, spiritual fitness. I remember when I first came to this country and I had an opportunity to travel, and I spent quite a lot of time writing down and just reflecting on areas of opportunity, things, the life I would like to lead and the sort of country I wanted to live in, the sort of person I wanted to be. And that time I spent reflecting on those areas, was hugely beneficial and been a guide for me in the rest of my life, and I believe has stood me in very good stead, and it can do the same for you. So what's the third approach? And it's this. It's finding out how you can anticipate how you and those you care about respond to situations like this, both the tough side and the opportunity side. And because we are all different, and we think differently, we decide differently, we act differently, and we worry differently, doesn't it make sense that if there is a way of understanding the ways in which we are different, and that can help us to predict how we're going to respond, both, say, to the concern side and to the opportunity side, that we should do it? Because that's exactly what see-me color profiling does. So let me give you an example. Let's think about how different temperaments would respond to worry. Now, if you've done a color profile, you'll be familiar with our language, and so you'll find this easy to understand. If you haven't, you might want to click on the link, follow our link through to the website, and you'll get some clues as to what your color combination or preference might be. But let's assume for the time being that you have a red preference. What's likely to cause you consternation is if you can't get into the action, whether you're being frustrated or stopped from taking the action that you believe is right. If you have a blue preference, it's lack of predictability and working out what's going to happen, or start something that stops you from finishing on tasks you've committed to. If you have a green preference, it's the lack of community or the reduced community and connection with people that could really concern you. And if you have a yellow preference, it's lack of people contact generally and the opportunity to put ideas into practice. So what about the converse? What would help somebody with a different temperament to go forward and to create a new future? If you have a red preference, it's just the freedom, really, if you like, to be ambitious, think big, and put things into action. If you have a blue preference, it is about the resolving situations and being able to complete what you've committed to. If you have a green preference, it's getting that community back. It's connecting with people that you really care about and doing things that you think should be done. And if you have a yellow preference, it is all about getting the personal contact back and putting ideas into practice that you believe can make a difference. So the way to put that into practice, of course, is follow the link, go to the website, work out your color preference, and then do it for yourself and for people that you care about. So in summary, the 3 areas that you can take some sort of control and you can influence to create a better future are as follows. 1, get the facts and concentrate on what you can influence. 2, reflect on areas of opportunity to create an even better life. 3, work out how you personally and those you care about are likely to respond in a situation like this. And what you'll find, it is easier for you and people you care about to respond positively, restore some semblance of normality, and create an even better future. So follow the link, use the materials that we've created for you, completely free of charge, and enjoy the results. If you would like to ask any questions or comment or make any suggestions, please do get in touch. And of course, if you'd like to share this video with anybody you feel it would benefit, do so. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to going on the rest of this journey of the 6 S's with you. Thank you.